participant in the conference.
Okay, so we are.
What?
We're live.
Well,
Erase everybody, put
but
Sandy.
if you want the attachments, you're right. Then it would.
Yeah, we'll get that. Sure it's not Memorex?
True. We don't know.
You don't even know what I'm talking about.
I do. It's the cassette tapes.
Really?
Libraries
You
and
do?
Memorex.
Okay,
Yeah.
who was the star for the advertisement?
I don't know what that is.
When she sang it broke glass. Remember? Goblets would break.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know who it was though.
Ella Fitzgerald.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Is that Paul Fitzgerald's sister?
What's that?
Could
Is
be.
that Paul
Yeah.
Fitzgerald's sister?
Probably.
She got a good dose of melanin.
Yeah.
Smartphones and dumb guys.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, then seems like they keep changing their minds on how they're gonna work.
I don't use half the stuff because I don't know.
Well, we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I guess the bell's on time. The 9 o'clock bell's going off right now, so.
Look at us go. Oh.
Well, it is only 9, that one's a little fast, it's not 5.
Right here.
Let's turn this on.
Make a motion I'll make a motion to approve the minutes in the agenda.
I'll second it.
Motion Stenzer and the second from Derby to approve the minutes and agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, discussion with possible action regarding COVID-19 policies.
I know that Carla and I talked to Kelsey about getting a plan, and I don't know if she's gotten anything in writing yet. Did she get you something?
She sent it.
Oh, okay. Well, Carla didn't have it in the file, so I
Copies?
didn't know
Sure.
if she did.
If you want to just make copies first.
She sent us an email.
Yes, yesterday.
How do you get it?
I don't know.
I don't know why I'm special.
Well, I
Well,
talked to her.
got two, but
I was talking to her yesterday for about 20
yeah,
minutes.
she said she talked about maybe it was just the two of us.
Which is, this is, you know, it
Did
didn't
she
need to be
get
approved.
one to Carla too then?
I would assume she would include her on the email, but she maybe didn't think she needed to include me because we visited about it.
Oh,
so.
okay. And I didn't need it, so.
Let's see. Says Bill Jensel at 10:01,
This morning,
yesterday morning, 10:01, temporary policy for use of sick.
okay, yesterday,
And Carl was in on it.
Okay.
well, there it is. Look at that.
I hit 3.
That's okay.
But she did say in the email, she requested we not pass it today, because she's gotta look at the, FFCRA, how it conflicts with that, and our policies, and,
Okay.
Make sure there's no conflicts.
right.
Gotcha.
But my concern is, are we going
Thank
to be able to make this retroactive so that people that are not getting any paychecks because they have no sick leave?
Yeah, because it's already happened.
Well, nobody's lost pay,
Okay,
but they've lost personal sick time.
okay,
so-
so we reimbursing sick time is about all it'd be.
Right. If it can be retroactive, but nobody's physically lost money.
Okay,
Okay, and then our policy before that was you had to exhaust your sick time after, I can't remember that after we.
Did you call Mike Galloway?
No, Kelsey and Carla were gonna take care of that, so.
I think this is pretty generous compared to other employers.
Good morning.
Hello.
So you did not recommend passing it, yes, you're not done?
Only because I wanna check, not for any substantive reason other than I just wanna double check with all the, cause we have so many policies right now. And that comprehensive one that Galloway's office put together is long and I just didn't have a chance to kind of cross-reference and make sure we're not conflicting with anything. Otherwise, I don't have a problem with it. I just wanted an opportunity to do that. And it's my understanding that the reason this all got brought up is over with, right? So it's not like we have to pass it today in order to.
It will affect people,
soon.
more and more people.
Sure.
It affected a person, I think another person might be close on this
Payroll,
payroll,
okay.
but,
But you guys can make the policy retroactive, of course, and then it's up to your office to figure that side out. But I think you guys have already looked into that a little bit.
I don't know if Chelsea
How
has.
long till you think you'll have it figured out?
Well, just if we put it on the next, so Tuesday, unless you wanted to do a special meeting, but, it's been a little crazy. We're getting ready for our first post-COVID jury trial next week, so, which is at an alternate location, so it's just been a little wild.
Is our policy, I don't remember, if one of our secondary road workers gets sick and they are able to isolate at work, can they still come to work? Like to
You know,
stay-
I don't know if we've addressed that specifically, have we?
I don't think they're supposed to come. You wouldn't want them anywhere.
Well, no,
Well,
they
but-
won't come, they'll be in there, they'll be isolated
If
by
they-
themselves, they'll just stay in their truck or their
If they're,
maintainer.
if they're okay.
Which
I
case?
mean, it depends
yeah.
on if they're
I don't-
symptomatic or
I don't-
not.
Are they positive but asymptomatic?
Doesn't
or are they-
matter if they
Right.
if they have to be.
But if
quarantined.
they're not well, like Carla, she was not well
No.
enough to come to work.
No.
Right.
Yeah, but if you're asymptomatic and you can sit in your, maintainer all day, you're isolated, you're zero risk to anybody, no one gets in and out of that machine but you.
Yeah, that's.
Uh,
Yeah, I
And
just
then
don't
is
think
that
you guys
legal?
have addressed it before.
And then is that legal?
Well,
Have a policy for them and a different.
I mean, I don't know that you could necessarily force them to come to work, but you could exclude that situation from this essentially freebie sick time. Does that make sense?
If they, if the case, if their job allows them to isolate. that
Without,
Clause,
right, it could
Or
get a
work
little
from-
difficult to actually put into words in a policy.
What
I'd have
about
to
keep-
mess around with
and
it.
work from home.
Well, and I
Work
did
from
put that
home.
in there, that if you're under this policy, if you're able to work from home, which I know not all positions are, obviously, that you're required to, assuming you're not seriously ill or something and can't actually work, I understand that. I think I put to the extent possible.
I would
That
like
would be
to
under
have
the
a
second.
Phone call with Mike Galloway next week. So, you set that up or do we do?
I can, or,
I can email Mike, and see if he's available.
Cause I'd like to go through a couple of these here. So we don't, it's not incumbent on us to do it this week.
That's my understanding. Yeah, I wasn't here last week when you guys talked about it, so
this
I just wanted to
situation
get you something to look at
brought
least
us
this
up
week.
is, Yep, already passed. Shit.
Just we don't know when the situation will come up again.
right, and it's
But-
closer now.
And if it's
Whatever
retroactive,
that's-
it doesn't matter anyway, because we'll just go back and take care of it. So-
I just don't wanna drag it out too long.
No, no,
Right.
yeah, we wanna get it done, but it's not anything where we have to quick pass
So
something.
you want me to send this to Galloway to look over then and then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
Excuse
there-
me, guys.
Yep,
You were talking about secondary roads. They're considered a critical infrastructure workers, and I believe when I sent you guys the updated, guidelines on, they're dated 9/29/20. I think I sent it to you, Kelsey. I can resend it. But on page 8, it talks about as if they remain asymptomatic, and additional precautions, they can go to work.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, that, if they wanna go to work, it'd be, you know, you can't afford.
Right.
They're sick, but,
Well, unless because they're the critical employee, I suppose you
Yeah.
could. It's like this policy doesn't apply to sheriff's deputies and jailer, dispatch, et cetera, except on a case-by-case basis, because if they've gotta be at work, they've gotta be at work.
for me, I mean, I'd go to work, as long as I wasn't a threat to anybody.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And some people, it's easier to work from home, and it's just different for everybody, it seems like, so.
Kelsey, do you want me to, do you remember having this? Do you want me to resend
Yeah,
it
no,
to
I
you?
think you sent that, I don't know that I need it resent or anything.
Okay, all right. Because it has a thing for critical infrastructure workers who were exposed and all that.
So one easy thing to do is, in this policy, we can just adopt are those CDC guidelines? Or,
They came from IDPH, which I'm assuming followed all the way down from CDC.
okay, we can
And it
adopt,
has it does say CDC.gov coronavirus 2019 on it.
I can just reference that in here
Okay.
too, if that would make you guys feel better
What
about
happens if they change?
everything.
Well-
It's changing all the time, but, and that's what we could put in there though, is whatever the current IDPH
As of this
guideline
day.
is, yeah.
And if it changes, then we have to change with it possibly, and
Well, I think you could do language that it would just continue to follow whatever those guidelines are as they change. And then if a guideline came down that, for example, you didn't like, you could then revisit that. That would probably be the easier way to do it, instead of making busy work.
okay.
Did you have any concerns about any of the language in this that I should be looking into before next week, or? I mean, I'll have Galloway look at it as well, but he had not, I actually had emailed him to see if any of his counties had done this, and none have. Or that he's aware of, I should say. They certainly could have done it without talking to him, but.
I guess the only concern I had, and this I'm sure doesn't fall under legality or policy, but, there hasn't been one person needing 160 days for COVID, has there?
That's just an arbitrary number.
Yeah.
That way we didn't have to come back and up it, but we can certainly make that lower. Cause that would be, I actually had that in there before. I originally did not understand the intention to be that the employee would have to use all their accrued sick leave first. And so that's why I think I had the 160 in. If they've gotta use the 80 hours under the Coronavirus Act and then whatever sick leave they have, and then this policy comes into play, 160 is probably high. But it's whatever number you guys want it to be, because this isn't something you have to do, this is something you guys are choosing to do for the employees, so.
Okay.
So whatever number you want is fine.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Julie, did you have anything else for COVID?
No, not that you guys can't see on the website, so.
Does it concern you that it's constantly changing with the CDC?
I think it's constantly changing is because they're finding new things all the time. It is frustrating sometimes because you just get out the new information right away and then they change it on you, but I kind of expected that, I guess I should say that, with any new virus.
Let me rephrase it. Do you have any concerns with the validity of the people making these, of the facts? You think the facts are being skewed at all? Cause I do.
Of like how it's contacted
Like how
or,
it's spread, like how it's treated, how it's, everything. I think politics has entered so much into it that, to be quite frank, I don't know who to trust as far as making policy decisions.
Personally, I have stopped watching the news and all that and everything regarding it, and I have only enlisted what IDPH and the CDC is, and I have full faith in that my public health department from the state would not,
Okay,
lead us astray. Does that make sense?
you answered it. Yep.
Do your statistics that you're seeing here at our local level jive with what they say is happening across the nation?
Across the nation, I can't say, but I know that my numbers match what we have from the state with how many cases are there. I would like to see them more not just say how many positive cases. I would rather have them say how many active cases are out there. Because a lot of the 300 and I think it's 365 or 368 this morning, over half of them have already been recovered, and they used to have the recovery date, we would know every 14 days, and now they've put that out to every 28 days before the people drop off of our count. I would like that to be more how many active cases we have, and just roughly figuring if they drop off in 28 days, the people that were on in August should be dropped off, and people in part of September should have been dropped off.
Well,
And I just don't think they can keep up with that down at the state level
see,
to get all that paperwork done.
from what I know of it, and maybe that's limited, but I've tried to keep up with it too. To me, it's being skewed a little bit in the sense of, especially the schools, okay? The death rate amongst children is virtually zero. And, we're scaring the public by taking all these draconian actions, and, I don't know, I guess I'm asking, am I wrong,
We'll never be able to have public school again because the regular flu is more deadly than the COVID is to the students, and the flu season and the school year jive. So in theory, if you wanna go by those numbers, we'll never have school again.
So.
I think
That's.
when they passed the last guidelines about the mask, if you were in close contact and if both of you were wearing the mask, I think that helped out the schools, because we don't, obviously the positive person has to stay home, but if you were in close contact and both of you had a mask, I think that has helped.
But I mean, if the mortality rate is virtually zero, and regular flu is actually even worse, how come we're not making policy for the regular flu? You can go to school with the regular flu, and I know some kids do.
Not recommended, but
No,
yeah.
but they don't kick you out. They'll actually kick you out if you have COVID. So that's just a thought. We can move on.
One thing, back
Okay.
to the 160 days, that's supposed to read hours, not days, so I'm glad you caught
Okay.
that. So I
You know,
went back to look at it and I
I
thought,
was-
that does seem excessive.
You know what, I was thinking it should be hours too. I was
Yeah.
going through my mind, and I'm
So
like,
thanks for catching that,
well,
Mike.
they do, yeah.
I'll change that, and still, the number can change,
Yeah.
but the
That's-
intention was hours, not,
That's, I
not
can
days.
live with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that makes a pretty big difference,
Yeah.
so I'll change
I
that.
couldn't remember anything. in
I must have been
previous
half
policies.
asleep when I wrote it, yeah.
I couldn't remember anything in previous policies where it was in days like that.
No,
Okay,
no,
then-
I'll change that.
I was gonna ask you afterwards.
Apparently, some of the cities are looking at what we're gonna do with our
Oh.
policy to reflect on theirs.
Okay,
too, so.
sure.
I guess the reason I just don't want people to come to work and just say, oh, it's just a cold, and it not being just a cold, and then the whole courthouse is infected, my whole department's infected, and, you know, we're putting a burden on,
But
you know,
that doesn't
my
happen.
elderly client.
That doesn't happen. I mean, and that's been proven. Just because one person in the courthouse would get it does not necessarily mean the whole courthouse is gonna get it. You know, and so that's what I'm saying is that we've overblown this and we've scared people, you know?
Well,
I was feeling a little threatened when we had a couple of cases and how it could spread in the courthouse right before an election.
Yeah, my concern
Right.
would particularly be with the auditor's office right now.
Right.
Well, absolutely. I mean, for those who are, quote, successful, but I didn't say that right.
I just wanna make sure these people are available at the time
Right.
of election.
Otherwise, they're gonna be in a bind.
But
Yeah.
we're living in fear.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just drop it. Let's go on, please.
yeah, it's,
Okay, have a good day, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Julie.
Yep.
Well, I'll
okay.
make that change, and if you guys think of anything else before next week, let me know. Otherwise, I'll get in touch with Galloway too. Is there a certain time next week? Do you know what the agenda's
Put it
like?
on the agenda.
We always
there
just have it right away.
Okay. I'll see if 9 o'clock works
So
for
you're gonna
him.
make the changes of the hours versus days
Yep.
and the tying it to the CDC guidelines.
Yep, I'll put that line in, and then I'll do that, and then I'll send it to Galloway and try to see if he can be available next week. So I'll be in court next Tuesday. I don't know, but if you've got Galloway on the phone, it should work. So, okay, thank you
All right.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Conference locked.
Bill,
Yeah, but how do I call? All I do is dial it.
it's the sound that does it.
Pick up the-
beep,
Oh,
beep,
it's
beep.
picking up the beep.
Hello,
We're ready for you, Scott.
I'll stop up.
Now, just kind of push a couple of buttons again, get it to beep beep, see if it unlocks.
There are 3 participants.
It's not locked.
Good job.
Well, I feel like a high-tech genius right now.
Next time, just pick up the phone.
I mean, I look at all the people I've interacted with this past week, past 3 days, going into cases, I mean, just all over the place. I mean, odds are you're bound to come up with somebody that's sick of something,
It's been going on for thousands of years.
you know?
Good morning.
Morning.
Walking with their masks on out in the open. I know.
I see people driving with their masks.
I know it.
And I feel bad for them because they've been scared to death. Well, Scott Miners, engineer, will discuss secondary road matters. That's gotta be much better.
Wouldn't want to interrupt your mask.
Yeah, really.
Well,
Is that why you have a beard? Does that help filter?
I don't know.
Yeah.
well, maybe we should ask the boss here, for his guy. If one of your secondary road guys that drives truck or maintainer, got it and had no symptoms, would you expect him to come to work? And if he could stay isolated?
If he didn't know he had it,
No, if he knew he had it, if he'd been exposed,
He's,
it's my thinking, and I don't, it's my thinking that if they can stay isolated in a truck or maintainer, they should be able to come to work. But now that you're here, we'll ask you.
yeah.
which they are essential workers in a sense, but, yeah, you can self-isolate in your maintainer all day long. You're zero risk to anybody.
You could possibly arrange for an employee to be isolated away from the guys full time. We would never expect our guys to be here when they're sick.
No, this is mostly if a
No,
guy
this
wanted
is-
to come.
This is, what do they call it, asymptomatic?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where you're
Yeah.
feeling great, but you've been exposed and you might have it, but you're still,
Yeah.
you just.
We would handle the situation as delicately as we could and, feel our way through the policy and make the right decision for
If there was somebody
guys.
like me that I had 102.5 fever once years and years ago, and I was driving a truck, I was down in Louisiana, and I'm like, if I'm feeling this bad, I just as well be making money, so I just kept driving my truck. And, if someone wanted to be like that and come in even though they've had a positive test, you would make arrangements where they could run their maintainer.
I can't say. We'd have to talk through it. It hasn't come up yet.
No,
No, hopefully it doesn't, this whole thing goes away.
Yeah, each case, I think everybody realizes that they, need to request guidance from public health and do what's best for the people around them. Every situation seems to be a little bit different than the last one.
that's what makes it so hard to make a policy.
Yeah, absolutely. An update on construction. Our asphalt paving is complete. They are working on the shouldering right now, and I believe they have R50 done by now and have moved to A38. They got A16 done last week.
You got a mile done of 838 on the south side, I just drove through it.
Excellent. So that'll be today and tomorrow probably, and they should have that whipped. That's been going pretty good. After that, we'll have grooving and paint striping to be done, and that'll wrap up the project. So hopefully we get some good weather and get the paint down on some warm pavement.
Threaten them with non-payment if they don't get the line straight.
They don't get it straight, yeah. I don't know if we ever had an issue with that, but.
Oh, good night. Oh, whatever. Here I am taking time, I'm supposed to get out of here. Sorry, Scott.
Yep. So we're on the tail end of those projects. Other than that, you guys have anything else?
I have nothing.
Roads are in good shape.
Alright,
Alrighty, move on to auditor's office, we'll discuss drainage matters.
I don't think I have anything.
I have nothing.
DD 11 still at a stalemate.
So it was 18, not 11. Still waiting on the railroad.
I got one thing maybe I'll bring up. We'll be putting together construction forecast kind of for the next 5 years and specifically for next summer. Was wondering if there's any opportunity to use excess TIF money for construction projects, or if you guys thought about that at all. I know you guys talked about it a little bit back in the
I think we
courthouse
better be
discussions.
very careful on doing that. From comments I've heard from the public as far as,
Sure.
how much money we, what was it, 12 years ago, or 10 years ago. As far as using $19 million, it's something to keep in the back of your mind. It's not a prohibitive thing, but.
Sure. Well, it's hard to plan unless I know if there's,
Right.
some target number to shoot for. And that we kind of changed the whole look of the plan, so just curious what that process looks like to decide if we're gonna do that or not.
When are you gonna do that? Have the plan ready?
Probably like to put plans together in the next month and a half, 2 months.
Okay, I was gonna suggest you make available the new supervisors, be in on that discussion.
Okay,
And get with Carla too and see what she's thought about, whatever. Because I know they were gonna use some of that, I think, for the roof.
Right.
Right.
And
And we used some of it for the sides, so I don't know what.
and we had intended on using some of it for the conservation building.
So I just don't know what there is. But she
And
would
and that can be done after November 4th, so we'll know who it is, if you wanna get going on it.
sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Or soon thereafter.
Yeah, the new supervisor would take office at first of the year, right?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
But hopefully that person can be available
Yeah.
between the November and
Yeah.
The
January.
new
I'll
person
make
will,
sure they are.
the new person will have talked to the public extensively by election.
Yeah. Okay, otherwise, do either of you guys have any kind of gut feelings or wish to wait on that, or?
I had let Scott know that, if we were doing something, it'd be nice to get to Osmus with paving.
I
And
concur on that.
he was saying that doing it from town and out, right? All the way from right in and out, an overlay, or would be probably more cost efficient, or is
No.
it two separate
I
projects?
don't know, we've run several scenarios out there, and I guess I'm more interested in maintenance money for taking care of what we got. But, yeah, that's kind of standalone, because that could be done really any time that we could find the money, whereas, the roads that we got aging out there, we're getting closer and closer to the 20-year mark from the last time we did something like 50 miles in a summer, so I'd like to spread those out a little bit more by doing some kind of more intense maintenance on some of those, whether it's,
I know you're not aware of this, but coming out of Joyce, the blacktop that goes northeast out of Joyce, you go aware of that road that goes past the elevator and out.
I've been on it probably, but man, I don't get up that way very
I
often.
think it was roughly 20 years ago, maybe longer. They used a different process of it wasn't pavement, remember that? It wasn't pavement, it was, but it was hard surface. And it lasted for, well, they've just redone this now in the last 6 years, I think. So it, I don't know if that's something to check in on.
Was that a new blacktopping, or
It was brand new, but it
over
wasn't,
gravel?
yeah, over gravel, but it wasn't pavement. And the whole county was in an uproar that this isn't gonna last, but it did.
Well, that's bitch. Well, anyway, something to think about as we kind of get closer to, we'll work on our 5-year plan in conjunction with the budget and marry those together here. And we'll want to kind of have that put together pretty soon to the first of the year, hopefully, so. Anyway. Good enough.
Okay. Auditor's office, we discussed drainage matters, did nobody have anything?
Right.
All right. And, number 5, consider for approval pay estimate number 5 for $89,325 to B&B Farm Drainage for DD11 main tile.
And this is more him getting the material. So,
So it's on the job site, or maybe it's already installed.
probably already installed, and he's just trying to keep up with paying.
Yeah, I don't
Those
think there's
guys.
any pipe sitting on the job site right now that I know of. Yeah, he's not showing anything past the 54 inch, so it's installed. So I guess I would make a motion to approve the pay estimate number 5 for $89,325 to B&B Farm Drainage for DD11.
Second.
Motion Derby, second from Stenzer to approve the pay estimate number 5 for $89,225 to B&B Farm Drainage for DD11 main tile. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
You have ESPA? You must have ESP.
Yeah.
I got that too. They get play football games and stuff on it.
Really? You forgot the end.
All right, consider for approval auditors transfers.
Terry's good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, as if you've done it all.
Yeah, brother-in-law, nephew. My nephew, there's only 2 of us that are safe to drive the trucks. And he took off work this morning, so he didn't have to stop. So.
Do we just give the fair money when they ask for it, or I mean,
No.
allocated?
No, every
There's a
month.
schedule?
Well, it's just based on the taxes that we received the previous month. Until they reach their dollar amount,
Okay.
their budget.
We just approve it once a year and then we distribute it throughout the year.
I'll make
Yeah.
a motion to approve the auditor's transfers.
I'll second it.
Motion from Derby and a second from Stenger to approve the auditor's transfers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, consider for approval auditor's quarterly report.
Anything glaring?
Are you doing mine now or?
Yeah. All auditors.
Auditors.
Well, is there anything glaring for yours? Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
A motion from Stenger and a second from Derby to approve the auditor's quarterly report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. I'll do the same for the recorders.
Here's the,
Maybe she wanted to do some grandstanding first.
I'm just gonna let you know, like I told you a while back that I send all these records to Zillow every month. Well, now First American Financial Corp wants our records, so I'll probably be sending them everything. And it's $200 a month, which is kinda nice for the county.
Perfect. And that's just some keystrokes?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Takes a little bit, but we
Yeah, yeah,
upload them all,
I
yeah.
don't wanna minimize it. But,
Yeah, I
mean,
know. Yeah,
it's gotta be worth the 200 for you. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'll second it.
A motion from Stenger and a second from Derby to approve the recorder's quarterly report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Open forum.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
There's some manure management, and then Summit Pork LLP in Newton 28. I don't know if this is a new one. So if you want to check that out.
This is the one that's along DD 11.
Oh, it is.
That you just put in.
Oh, okay, okay. So I don't know if that's something that we need to have on the agenda to set a
The
public hearing.
verification, I suppose a certain time of year, they have to verify. their-
Okay, so it's not a new, we've already done the master matrix and all that.
This letter's not issued.
Yeah, if you got that form, then it's done.
Okay, okay. I just wanted to make sure.
That's. This one. So Kevin's grandfather, too,
Kevin?
Williams,
Yeah, yep, week old.
was at church the other day.
Oh, yep.
So is this the first time that you're a grandpa? A new name for you.
They're not fun for about 8 months.
They're not for men until they're 2 or 3 years old. They're not so breakable, otherwise you feel like you're gonna break them.
Then they start breaking you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. When it comes to little kids, as I always said, I'm like a spineless jellyfish in a sea of sharks.
And then their moms get mad at the grandpa over, exposes them to risk.
But it was fun.
Oh, yeah, it was fun.
Watch this.
Yeah. The famous Missouri words, huh? Hey, y'all, watch this. Well, they even got it on YouTube, some of it.
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll claim.
I'll second that.
Motion Derby and second Stenger to approve the payroll claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, stand adjourned.